Hi, friends. Today is quite a challenge for me to film just because, yeah, my energy is a little down at the moment. Grizzly, as we say. However, that doesn't mean we can't be in our most authentic, our most premium aligned energy. And the tarot card I have for us today is the moon. The moon. See if I can focus it. Can't really see it so well. I particularly love this deck because of all the animal symbolism. So we've got a wolf, a dog, a lobster or a crab, and a moon in between two pillars or two rocks. And it makes me just feel into cycles and how we can so often be caught in the idea of needing to create a future separate from our present moment, separate from our past. But actually, the past is what has led us to this point, and if you follow Abraham Hicks, it's what's led us to put multitudes of contrast into our vortex, also known as we've created a strong desire to experience the opposite of certain things that have happened or certain things we've perceived, right? And sometimes we can get a little caught with the idea that we should be there, or we're fighting to get to that place, that perhaps the journey itself obviously is the part that we're learning to enjoy and embrace, but that nothing is off course. And from my perspective, there's nothing wrong with looking back and noticing how far you've come, and even contemplating the depth of distance between your now self and the old self. Not distance in a cold-hearted way, but distance in a wow, I've walked a long way. My heart has moved through a lot of cycles. I've seen a lot of full moons. And the moon here is full. So that makes me feel like perhaps during the full moon, there'll be a message for us. If you're seeing this, then I feel it's resonant for us. Yeah, it makes me think of like the layers of protection as well, right? Like we have perhaps the layers to our heart sometimes. We've got the lobster or the crab at the bottom, which has its protective shell against the outer world. Then this loyal dog, also guarded by a wolf, our inner predator, our inner animal. And all of them are aligned with the moon. Like all of our stages of reality, all of our stages of being and becoming are in alignment. We are not more or less evolved than the other. We are simply in different stages of a path. And it's very easy for us to perhaps overlay how we perceive something onto a situation. And when we catch ourselves doing that, when we find ourselves doing that, it really is the invitation to breathe back in and perhaps question why we are believing this, or why are we experiencing this internally? Because sometimes there's no way of knowing if someone else is experiencing what we're experiencing, even through the same relationship or the same situation, the same dynamic. So when we learn to close our eyes and go inside, that doesn't necessarily mean literally, but obviously it helps. Then sometimes we'll notice the knots of energy, the tensions. And it makes me think of what Matthias de Stefano talks about in his course Yo Soy, which I would highly recommend. I'm still processing through it myself, but it's a really, really magical experience. it explains so much of my reality and some strange, crazy things that have happened along my journey. And it gives it a lot more context and a lot more grounding, a lot more wisdom to explore. If you are interested, I would highly check it out. They're all free. They're on YouTube. Yosoi. And what he was talking about was how everything is in our nature, how the past has led us to be here and we have evolved into this place. And I think sometimes in our community of beings who are healing and moving and evolving, there can be quite a lot of pain and judgment around another person's displays or how they are showing up for themselves and others, when actually how we're perceiving them could be our most important question. Why are we perceiving that as an attack or as a defense? Or why are we experiencing that again and again? Having no right or wrong in life can be kind of frustrating for parts of ourselves. But actually, we then strengthen our heart and our connection to source or God or love, higher self, beingness. Through that strength of resolve, we can so easily feel what is true for us in a moment and not necessarily attached to that being a truth for anyone else or even a truth for ourselves for longer than that moment. But once we truly accept something, if it no longer is serving us, we tend to release it. It tends to dissolve. And something I've noticed a lot in my reality is the minute I accept something about myself, maybe I process through some things and maybe I feel certain things and I can wake up in a shame spiral like anyone else, right? But there's also that element of patience and acceptance. And it's almost like whatever was clouding that experience or perception, that belief that really felt so real in the moment, suddenly dissolves into that nothingness that allows us to just truly feel the feeling, pass through that energy, pass through that emotion, and choose what we do with it, right? We get to choose how we use that. Again, going back to Matthias, he talks about, because he channels different beings, so many different energies. One of the beings of darkness, I forget what he's called, but in a certain temple, Matthias talks about it. If anyone's interested, just comment and I'll see if I can dig it out on my history. Yeah, he talks about how humans are the manure. And that's the same for our emotional world, right? We have manure, we have the shit, and that causes the flowers to grow. It's the same with our emotional realm. We have process and we clean and we love and we understand and we explore the shit, the things that feel stickier, that feel heavier, that feel like, oh, I don't want to sit in this, I don't want to smell it for too long. But once we really get in there, we realize its beauty and the power that it has to connect us all the way down through the roots and all the way back up again through the branches. We're all on a different journey, and where we choose to invest our time, where we choose to water our plants, our roots, nourish our soil, and with whom. All of it is an extension of our own garden, you see. As I'm sure we're all aware that time is temporary, everything changes, and the cycles of the moon always remind us of this. No matter where we are in our path of evolution, no matter if we feel the need to judge and blame and criticize, may we have compassion for ourselves. May we have compassion for other. And so it is. All unfolds in the perfect way. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you.